ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Roundtable. Thanks for listening to us on the Broadway Podcast Network, or if you're watching us right here on the Roundtable's YouTube channel. Our next guest, if you're born in a certain age in life like me, then you remember some of the iconic films. I didn't like Michael in the movie. Michael, you're not a nice person in this movie, but Michael, I'm sure, is a class act in real life. Michael Cavalieri, you've seen him in The Next Karate Kid. You've seen him. This is why I'm fascinated by this. When I read the press release about your films, my name is Robert Bannon. I say this on the show all the time. My mom is Rose DiMeglio. My grandfather is Michael DiMeglio. I'm a half Italian from Jersey, a good Italian Catholic boy gone bad. No, that's besides. But my grandfather came here from Ischia off the coast of Naples when he was 18 years old, and he started his life here in the United States. So for Michael going back to Sicily, creating films in Sicily and telling his heritage story, and how important it is that we know that this country is a country made up of hardworking immigrants who came here from somewhere else to give themselves a better life so we can have the life that we are living right now. That's why I'm so excited that Michael is here. Welcome.
Oh, Robert, Ischia, I've been there. How wonderful. Congratulations, D'Amelio. Wow.
That's
bravo,
D'Amelio,
bravo.
Yes. Of better.
Fantastic.
Of better of what? I don't know what, but I...
Exactly. That's amazing. That's wonderful. Thank you for the intro, by the way. You're making me sound important. It's great. Thank you so much.
You are important. I'm so proud to be an Italian American. My dad is Irish and Czech. And my grandmother, Vincenza, her maiden name was Maggio, or you speak better Italian than me. He even said D'Amelio.
Vincenza. I love the name. Vincenza.
And Michael, we're so Italian here that all of my mother and her siblings, all of their middle names are Antonia and Anthony for St. Anthony. And on every license plate is the number 13. And on every Christmas card and birthday card, there are 13 X's and O's. Everything is about St. Anthony. We're a guinea little family here.
I love it. I'm so, it's really refreshing to hear this from you, because in this day and age, the stereotypes run rampant, especially in Hollywood. So to hear how your family really, really holds on to some of the traditions is a beautiful thing. It's wonderful. I can't wait to meet your parents and your aunts and your uncles and whoever else is in Jersey for me.
Come on, let's go. We have to do Fort Lee, New Jersey just opened, and across the street from the St. Rocco Church, opened a brand new film museum. And I may have to talk to you after this, because your films, there's a giant Italian population here in Fort Lee, and their decades go deep, and it's a town full of people who came here from Italy. What is your family's history? Your grandfather came here from Sicily?
Yeah, both my grandparents came from Sicily. One from Limina, which...
I get it.
Scusa. Yeah, Limina, Sicily, and my other grandmother came from Calabria. So both my fathers from Sicily and my grandmother from Calabria. So I'm all in. Puglia. Her family is from Puglia, and she's half Italian, half Irish. So we have to accept her, but it's okay. It's all good.
And that's me. So I get it. See, exactly. We're here.
No, that's good. And I had a baby boy 4 months ago, Matteo. So Matteo Lewis, my best friend. We're gonna bring him back to Sicily May 1st to go through all the things that I went through when I first went there to see my grandfather's home, and I'm gonna bring him there to experience the same things. He won't even understand it, but he'll feel it, and that's the most important thing for me. So I'm excited for that.
Michael, I think you're like my paisan. My grandmother is from Calabria as well, and
wow,
for real. So my grandmother, Verge is gonna eat this up. She's gonna say, Michael, you have to come over for some pasta.
I want to come. I'm coming over.
I'm over. So how did your family?
I'm jumping through here.
Let's go. Teleport you here. How did your family accept the idea that you were going to be an artist? Like, was this, sometimes hardworking old school people, were they ready for you to be an actor? Was this a foreign world for them? How did that transition happen?
So basically, I was a great athlete, and so most of my youth and going into high school and even into college, I was a fantastic athlete. And at some point, they thought I was going to go pro, and then I got hurt, and it kind of derailed my life. But I was always into like history and English, and read a lot, and was a pretty good student. And I was always like a old world. I always like to be with the older people. I always like to listen to people, try to learn about the wisdom, about you know about the history of this or the history of that, and have a conversation, take the time to really speak with people. And that was a really big thing for me. And the thing that marked me the most was obviously my grandfather. When he didn't speak any English to me, but we would be in the garden in the backyard, and he would kiss me or pinch my cheek or put the hat on my head. And so after my career got derailed as an athlete, I started working on Wall Street. And funny story, I was on a train going to Wall Street from Queens, and a gentleman kind of like passed me his card. He said, "Listen, you got a really great look. I'm an agent at this agency. You should come. You should come and meet me." And da da da. So I didn't pay any attention. I put the card in my pocket, and a few weeks later, when I was totally bored of this job on Wall Street, I pulled the card out and I said, maybe I should give this guy a call. Because, I love to sing. I love to think. I wasn't an artist. I didn't study any of it, but I loved it. I love to watch singers. I love entertainers. So I gave him a call and went into the city. And he worked at a big agency at the time called J. Michael Bloom, which is a tremendously big agency in New York at the time when I was growing up. So I walked in and he says to me, he goes, "Here." And he slides his paper across the table. And he's like, "Read this." I'm like, "What's this?" He goes, "Just read it." I said, "Yeah, what is it?" He goes, "Read it." So I read it, and it happened to be a scene for like a soap opera, a small scene. And then after I finished, he goes, "You're pretty good. Pretty good. And you got a good look. I think this could be something could very well." Long story short, he became my manager, and we came out to California, and then I got my first job, on a small film called Love. Robert Shea, who was the at the time the owner of New Line Cinema. He did like The Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Nightmare, and all that stuff. And that's how it began. And and this is how it started for me. And I think that all the disappointments, the athletic career, and I think things are supposed to happen the way they're supposed to happen. And I think in life sometimes we fight too hard to keep going in this direction when we should just say, it's time to go in this direction and be open. So I was having some family stuff. My mother was ill, and there really wasn't anything there for me in New York anymore, So I said, I got to try something else. So I took off and went with him, and that started the whole journey. And it changed my life, really. It really, really, in a lot of ways, it was hard because, my mother got sick at that time, and I had to fly back and forth and deal with her. But, the thing is, when you come from, a town in New York or Queens or Brooklyn or the Bronx, a lot of my friends stayed there. My family stayed there. And I always wanted to be away. I always wanted to go. I wanted to break the chains and go. And I said, this is my opportunity. Fail, not go. Because you never think, years later, did I try? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do this? So it's a big thing for me. I tell my wife all the time, I said, there's urgency in life. You need to be urgent. You need to dream. You need to, even if you fail, you need to go do it. Do it because you believe in it. Because most people tell you, and it could be the closest people to you, I hate to say it, well, what are you doing that for? Why are you not doing this? You should be doing this. You should be. And I always say, you know what? If I'm taking care of the things that I'm supposed to be taking care of in life, then let me do what I got to do. Let me fall on my face if I have to. Let me have the disappointments. Let me have the wins, whatever it is. Let me experience it. So my mother was a great woman. And I never forget, Robert, she was very ill. And I just got the movie Book of Love. And she was supposed to come out to Pasadena to see me film. And she couldn't travel because she had to get chemotherapy. And I never forget, I remember she was wearing this beanie and the robe and the pink robe. And she had lost a lot of her hair. And I was very close to my mother, Mary. And, she gave me a hug.
Yeah.
She said, "You know what? You deserve to dream. Go ahead. I'm going to be here. I want you to have your life." And it was the hardest thing I ever did to walk out the door. And I never forget, I got in the car and I saw her behind the screen door, and she waved. And it was like the last time she was actually lucid to really have an experience. But it hit me so hard in my life loss and pain, that I knew I was built for something else, something than just a stereotypical kid who goes into an audition to play a mafia guy, to play this Guido guy. This is not what I want in my life. This is not what I aspired to be. So my work, I hope, is a message or a sign to people. This is what we really are. This is who I'm trying to be. So that's how it kind of got going. And then who knows where I ended up. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going by my heart. I just go by my heart and soul, and I try to go after things. And I'm relentless. I don't stop.
I love that. Yes,
until I accomplish the goal that I want. Yeah.
That's how you succeed. And not only did you succeed and have a, I was joking before about this film, like this film right here, The Next Karate Kid, where I said,
hey, there he is. There he is.
You're not the nicest guy in this movie. But Juggernaut, there's generations of people who will watch this movie and meet you at conventions and at events and premieres and films and all of that stuff. And then but there's one thing, Michael, to be in an iconic movie and to be a part of a series or to get television roles and to work as an actor. It's another thing to take on, I'm going to fundraise, I'm going to shoot, I'm going to write, and I'm going to make a movie or movies, plural.
Yeah. Well, I just want to scoot back to Next Karate Kid for a second. It's funny because I always wanted not to be near that film. I said, I don't want to, leave me alone. They used to say, you're going to be the next actor. So you're the next this guy. I said, I don't care. I'm a serious actor. I want to be a serious actor, Now I look back, now it's 25 years or so later. I get calls from all over the world from kids, writing to me, Michael, I'm, this, that, I'm a fan. I love you. Please, are you going to be on the show? Are you going to do this? Blah, blah, blah. You were my favorite. You were the guy of the 90s. You were the, what? And you know what? Now I'm so happy and so grateful that I participated in that iconic franchise. It's probably one of the greatest franchises in movie history. And I was one of those characters that are the lead bad boys. So I revere it. I revere all the fans, and I'm so happy for their success. It's an incredible thing. But yeah, getting to the writing and I never wrote really like a script before. I don't even know how to write my name. Basically, I'm going from the soul. As you can see, that's who I am. And during my first journey to Sicily, when I went to find my grandfather's home, I just lost my sister the year earlier, and she was about 50 years old. So it really hit me after my parents go, and then my sister. It was really tough for me. So I said to my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, I said, I really want to go and just go back to Grandpa's village and see what I can find. And I only had some traces of information, but what I found changed my life forever. So I go there and the story just unfolds and I meet this guy and, I'm in the municipal building trying to speak in Sicilian. I don't speak fluently, but I speak good enough. I have a translator. We're going back and forth and we're trying to deal with this guy. And a guy walks in, he goes, "Who's Alabrandi?" That's my grandfather's last name. And I look at him, I said, "Me." He walks up to the front. He walks up to the book. The lady is working behind the counter. And he goes, "I know everything." Broken English. He goes, "Come with me." So I walk with him, and maybe 100 steps across the square, I walk into a cafe, and I'm in the doorway, Robert, and I'm looking at this guy. He's got glasses on. He's balding with a cane, and he's got tears streaming down his face. I'm like, "Why?" And I'm saying to myself, "Why is he crying? Like, what's going on? Why is he looking at me in hysterics?" Right? So the guy waits for you, goes, "Go cafe, sit." Now I got my driver translator, and they're talking and they're arguing about the story, some story that I don't even understand. So I'm like, wait a minute. And they start telling me the story. I'm like, no, that can't be true. Can't be true. Can't be true. So finally the guy gets frustrated and he fucking punches the table. No! And during this whole time, the old man was whispering into the guy's ear. And he's telling me this, telling us the story. And finally he says to me, "This is your grandfather's brother." And I almost fell off the chair. I said, nobody even knew this guy existed. I heard rumblings of a story that was a possibility, but I never believed it. My grandfather's brother. And I just lost it because I was ready to give my grandfather. He knew the reason why he was crying when I walked because he heard the name Randy from America, and he knew it was his family. He knew it was his brothers. That's all he had. He knew it. So when I walked in, he was like, and I spent the whole day with him. And I was at the cemetery, and I was looking at the lineage of the family. My father, my great-grandmother, grandfather's brother. And I looked, and I never forget, I looked out to because it's up about 1,000 feet. The town is up 1,000 feet, Lima. And I'm looking out to the mountain. I'm like, this has to be a movie. This is a movie. In my head, it's going, this is a movie. This is incredible. So when I came back, I started to write, and I just wrote crazy for like 6 weeks straight, just scribbling everything. I didn't have any kind of like structure, but I just kind of write. And so I showed it to a good friend of mine who's a very, very talented writer who's worked a great deal, and he goes, wow. He goes, this is something else. He goes, this is visceral, this is real, this is so honest. He goes, it needs structure, it needs this, but it's really got a heart. So we crafted the script, and it's ready to go, and I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to raise money to do a 2-hour film in New York and Sicily? How's this going to happen? I said, it's a couple $1 million, I'm sure. So I decided to craft a smaller part of it to just deal with the fact of Sicily and to deal with meeting this gentleman who takes me to wherever. And I ended up winning the NIAF Russo Award and Grant Award for the script. It wasn't a lot of money, but it got me back to Sicily, and then I paid for everything else. I paid for everything, and shot the whole thing in my grandfather's town, Lima, Sicily, with no actors, just the people from the town. And it was the greatest experience I've ever had in my life. And we went on to festivals all over the world in Taormina, and I was just named honorary citizen of my town. It's the first time it ever happened. This is the poster, RITORNATO. That's me touching the sign the first time. When I first saw the sign, Robert, I jumped up on the thing. I said, I made it, Grandpa. I made it, Grandma. I made it. I made it for everyone. And there it is. And it's really changed. That really, really, really was like a turning point in my life, in my career, in my personal life. Everything I do is wrapped around this feeling, this cultural feeling that I feel, and I'm very grateful for it. I think it probably saved my life in a lot of ways. It put me in a very, very good place. Instead of, you want to be a struggling actor, you want to wait for an audition. So many people like you.
Did I lose you? Froze. Hold on.
That it's like a whole village out there that have been doing this far before I was doing it, and led the way before I was doing it. But for some reason, they took to me. For some reason, they're looking to me as somebody to hold the candle up. So I feel a very deep responsibility, and I do it because I love it, and I hope that somebody will come along and give us some, obviously some help financing things. But I'll continue to work and do my things, and it's incredible. There I am.
You're back. Almost. I think we lost. Hey. Hey.
I lost you. There you are.
That's no worries.
Anyway, so that's.
I was going to say, you talk about financing. You tell the people that, you talked about the Russo brothers and getting some money from the Russo brothers. The Russo brothers, for people who don't know, I mean, these are the people behind the Avengers Endgame, like $1 billion movies, and for them to see your film and be moved, what is the reaction been like from people who see it? Italian Americans, non-connected, not like,
wow.
What is the theme when you finish the movie? What do you want people to walk away with?
Never forget your roots. That's my brand. Neverforgetyourroots.com. Never forget where you come from. Never forget to pay back the people that push forward for you. all the struggle, all the sacrifice that people somewhere. Never forget your roots, and always give back. Pay it forward, pay it backwards, give it to the kids. I my second film, La Porta dell'Inferno, is an incredible free Italian American. Robert, is that me or you?
I think it's breaking up, but I don't. And now I don't see you, but that's okay.
Hello.
Oh, we're back.
Can't hear you. No mic.
You can't. Do you hear? You don't hear me? Let me have you exit. I'm gonna kick and come back in. Oh, you can't hear me. Now
Robert,
is it better? Is it better?
It's better. Is it me or you? I don't even know. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on either. I was trying to fix it on my end, but I don't know if it's the connection. But now I see it was getting very like I couldn't see you move. It was that disjointed. Yes.
Okay, so let
Now
me.
you're here.
Okay, so I want to explain again. So you asked me, what did this represent to you? What is the theme behind this? And it really is never forget your roots. Never forget where you come from. Never forget the sacrifices of your ancestors or the people that came who struggled to give us a chance at a better life. That's the name of my my website, neverforgetyourroots.com. And I think that sometimes we forget where we come from. I think people think we just arrived here at some point. We just arrived and nobody struggled. Nobody had to fight for anything. RITORNATO has touched Italian Americans and Sicilian Americans all over the world. And it really doesn't have to be Italian or Sicilian. It could be anywhere. If you're from another place and you want to go back, these are the conversations because of Karate Kid. I was able to get the young kids' ears that are in India and Argentina. And then I say, so where are you from? And we start talking. I say, well, my film is from RITORNATO. Oh, wow. Did you ever go back? No, you should go back. So I was able to use that as a tool to bring those kids to another place. And now with La Porta dell'Inferno, it's an incredible film because it's been revered all over the world. This is a film about the sulfur miners in central Sicily. And again, I did this film with my own money. They told me, you're crazy, don't do it. Nobody's going to want to watch it. And I decided, well, I'm going to do it because it means a lot to me, so I'll do it. And I've been in Sicily now in 15 different universities all over the US. I'm traveling still. I'm going to Toronto, Canada, April 6th. I'm going to San Francisco, April 18th. May 1st, I land in Sicily. I go to Caltanissetta. I go to Agira. I go to Edoni. I go to Carlentini Siracusa with the film, with the students. I was able to bring, in Piazza Armerina, my first venue where I premiered the film, I was able to bring almost 2,000 students to watch the film. So they would come in on the bus, watch the film in the Teatro Garibaldi with me, and then we'd have a Q&A, and then afterwards we would take the bus back to the sulfur mines where these men worked. So they learn a history lesson. And a lot of these kids didn't realize that their grandparents worked in these places. So when they saw this movie, they realized that's what they were saying. Like they would hear it in their family, they didn't realize it. And I remember the Rai News came to the event, And the one girl was speaking in Sicilian. They had to cover her face, and she was crying hysterical. She said, "This is what my grandfather did. This is what my grandfather sacrificed." So my journey is to give back to a country, to Sicily and to America, of course, but to a place where my grandfather came from, to give back from my heart and to honor them and to respect the, it's like the common man, the working man, the peasant. The men in the sulfur mines were called peasants, and they were pushed down to the worst in animals. Me, as an outsider from America, looked at them as superheroes. And it's amazing because the first review I got was Sicilian American director brings back superheroes of the sulfur mines. And it was incredible. Like, they really got it. And so I think by my perspective of looking at them as superheroes, their own country's perspective and the youth has changed the way that they viewed it. And it's really been remarkable. And the response has been incredible. And, it's a really tough story to tell. And I probably cried the whole time I told the story. And but I have a screenplay that I'm trying to get off the ground that's done with this document. I have a screenplay for a film as well. Ritornato, I have a screenplay, a larger one. So this is what I'm trying to do. I'm writing another one. It's an incredible story, true story about being gay in Sicily in 1988. True story, and it's a really powerful story about the struggles with his father and how the mindset is so like barbaric in those times. We think it's bad here in the US. Back there, the mindset is totally barbaric, and they don't even see anything. And this is a really interesting story. It's really, it's funny. I had a conversation. It's an interesting concept because here we cut. It's part of our life. It's no big deal. And that's how I was approaching the story. And then I said to myself, wait a minute. Back then, it was a really big deal. And if we don't really hit what it is, then there's really no story. There's no waking up these people. So because my friend said you could do it this way or that way. This way is the tougher way. And of course, I chose the tougher way. So, and I want to represent in the best way that I can with my heart. It's really about relationships, Robert. It's about life. It's about having a conversation with your father. That I had tough conversations with my father. My father was in prison for 5 years. And when my mother was dying of cancer, that was part of what Ritornato was about. And there were tough conversations that were really difficult. I blamed him for everything in life. But when I look back, he screwed up sometimes. But you know what? He was just trying to do the best he could. And I think that we need to reflect a little bit about what they were saying and try to bring it to our time and say, okay, how do we deal with this? And this is what this other story is about, called A Sicilian Slice of Life. And it takes place in a pizzeria. It's a really interesting story. And I'm trying to get that off the ground. And I think it's an important story to tell from a guy like me.
Yeah.
I'm married, my wife, whatever. I'm not gay, but it doesn't. Why can't I tell the story?
Absolutely.
There was people, well, you shouldn't tell the story. They're going to give you a hard time. I said, I don't care if they give me a hard time. If you tell it from the soul and from your heart, then everybody will embrace it. If you tell it from a different point of view, then they won't. But if you're telling it from an honest place and a loving place, and to put a light on something, and even if it's not positive, but something positive can come out, then that's your job. So, this is what we're doing. This is what we're trying to accomplish. So just in the throes of that, but La Porta right now is really, really hot. And
yes,
I don't know, man.
I'm ready to La Porta dell'Inferno, the Door to Hell, as one film, Ritornato as the second film. I want to tell people, like you said before, never forget your roots.com. Go to the website. You could read about your story. You could read about the film. And then you could also go to _the_ movie on Instagram.
Yeah, the return. I mean, the never forget your roots.com. You can also see the trailer for La Porta dell'Inferno. There's a beautiful trailer, also like a news clips, and you'll get to see, which is a really great experience for me. The first time I showed it in a small venue, when the lights came up and the film was over, there was one man who got up and he was looking around the room, and there was another man, he hadn't seen him in 50 years. They worked together in the Sulphur Mines at 14 years old. And they came together and they were hugging and kissing. And I was privy to that. And I said, wow, if that's the only thing I ever get out of this film, to see these guys come together, then I did my job. And everybody was, I had a senator there from Rome who was crying hysterical. It's like, Michael, you just told our history, our world. And I didn't, I wasn't going in to be like, to do it. I was going in just because it was something that I felt passionate about. But I believe if you tell something or you feel something passionate, then you will get somebody's ear. You will get people's attention. And that's the kind of work that I'm trying to do.
I'm ready. No, like you. I'm ready to get sides and send my self-tape in to do the gay. I don't look stereotypically Italian, but do I have to?
Why? My son Matteo's blonde like you now.
See, okay, so
he's beautiful like you. What are you talking about? He's gorgeous. There's a lot of Sicilians that are blonde too, by the way, Robert.
There are a lot of blondes. Southern Italy.
My wife's blonde. Yeah.
The eyes, the hair.
Yeah, blue eyes.
Yeah.
Matteo, we don't know yet. I think they gray. My grandfather, blue eyes and light hair, and my grandmother.
Well, I just feel, see, my grandfather from Ischia had blue eyes, and what's fascinating about your upcoming project that you're working on, I have a song that's out and a video that's called "I Think He Knew," about a son telling his father, the father confronting the son and being like, "Did I make you this way?" This sort of stories changes the world. Like you telling a story like that.
Maybe we should collaborate on this.
Michael, you say the word.
I'm very serious. I'm very serious. I don't Robert. I'm the type of guy that, like, if I say I'm doing something, it gets done. I don't wait. I'm like, let's go. So we'll talk.
I want you to come here to Bergen County, New Jersey, to all the Italian Americans here, the Fort Lee Italian American Society.
Can we set up a screening there, an event screening?
Yes, because they have a beautiful. It's called the Barrymore Center. It's a museum of the history of film, which was created. The first film studio was in Fort Lee, New Jersey, and they built a 300-seat movie theater that's called the Barrymore Center. And your stuff would go off the chart here.
Yeah, it would do well. And it's funny. I was in New York at the Columbus Citizens Foundation. The Columbus Citizens Foundation. Yeah. And when I showed Ritornato, I had no idea that 200 people from Lehman lived in Westchester. They all came to the event. It was insane. It was the most beautiful, because you know what? You have a common interest. You feel the same. And it's palpable. So I'm sure that's kind of what it is. When we have events, that's what happens.
And that's what it would be.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. You're just going to have to sign my... Yeah. Yes.
I got to bring my boy a little suit and tie. All right.
Please, come on. Then you're going to have to sign by the next Karate Kid poster, though. That's the deal.
You got it. You got
it. Everyone, I want you all to go to Never Forget Your Roots. Think about your roots. Think about your family. Think about where you come from. We all come from somewhere. NeverForgetYourRoots.com, and then go to Ritornato_the_movie. We're going to one day see it. We're going to be able to see it, stream it, buy it, download it.
Yeah,
see
you can see Ritornato on RitornatoTheMovie.com, and you'll see it also. That's on Never Forget Your Roots. You punch in Ritornato and you'll see it. You can it's on Vimeo there. So, and La Porta will be up shortly. I have that on DVD, but that'll be up on streaming site shortly.
It's an honor. Your story resonates with my story. I feel it in my soul.
You're a beautiful boy. You're a beautiful man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's an honor for me. Thank you, Robert. Ciao, ciao.